Hello and welcome to a post-recording of the first webinar in our Digital Goods series of events. The purpose of these events is to share some of the knowledge we've accumulated over the last 20 years of working with organisations such as yourselves. We're planning on holding a webinar every quarter, so make sure you're signed up to the newsletter on our website so you hear about these as soon as they're released. For those who don't know me, my name is Chris Todhunter and I'm the founder and technical director of Studio Republic, and I'll be your host for today's session. Firstly, a brief intro into Studio Republic. This is our 20th year of building brands, websites and campaigns for charities, not-for-profits and purpose-driven businesses. So as I'm sure you already know, GA4 is the latest version of Google Analytics, and it's packed with powerful features that can help organisations such as yourselves track website performance, understand user behaviour and optimize your online conversions. Whether you're a small local organisation or a large international charity, GA4 can provide valuable insights into your online activities, help you make data-driven decisions, and ultimately drive your impact. In today's session, I'll be covering everything you need to know to get the most from GA4 for your organisation. I'll start with an overview of GA4, its key features, and how it differs from Universal Analytics. Then I'll walk you through the step-by-step process of setting up GA4, and I'll show you how to track donations, donor behaviour and fundraising campaigns. I'll also dive into some advanced GA4 features, such as custom dimensions and metrics, cross-platform tracking and audience targeting. Finally, I'll share some best practices for using GA4, including tips for creating effective tracking plans and reports, ensuring data privacy and security, and leveraging the power of GA4 to drive your impact. So, let's start by talking about what GA4 is and how it differs from Universal Analytics. GA4 is the latest version of analytics, and it represents a significant shift in the way that data is collected, processed and analysed. Unlike UA, which focused primarily on page views and sessions, GA4 takes a more user-centric approach to data tracking, allowing you to gain a deeper understanding of your website users and their behaviour. Here are a few key differences between GA4 and Universal. Data collection. So in GA4, data is collected through events, which are user interactions with your website or app, such as button clicks, form submissions, downloads, and video plays. This is a bit of a departure from Universal Analytics, where data was primarily collected through page views and sessions. In Universal Analytics, each event has a category, action, and label in its own hit type. In GA4 properties, every hit is an event. There's no distinction between hit types. For example, when someone views one of your website pages, a page view event is triggered. Google Analytics 4 events don't have built-in categories, actions, and labels, so these aren't included in the standard reporting. So this means that anything you had to set up in Universal to capture these will need to be rethought. What you do have now, though, is the ability to add your own parameters to any event, which can be used in much the same way to drill into your data, but gives you much more flexibility in how you leverage these. It's not quite as intuitive as it was with Universal, but it's certainly a lot more powerful. Enhanced events. A lot of events which had to be manually configured in UA are now available out of the box in GA4, including outbound clicks, downloads, site scrolls, and video engagement. Cross-platform tracking. So GA4 allows you to track user behavior across multiple platforms. For example, your website and your app, or your website and your CRM system. This can provide a comprehensive view of your users' journeys and allow you to optimize their campaigns across these channels. To accurately track this, the user would need to be signed into each platform with a common user ID. Then machine learning, really powerful. GA4 incorporates machine learning algorithms that can help you identify patterns in your data and make predictions based on previous user behavior. This can provide really valuable insights and help you make comprehensive data-driven decisions. The caveat here is that GA4 needs a substantial amount of data to make these predictions. So it needs at least 1,000 users to have completed a transaction and 1,000 not to have completed that over a 7-day period in the last month. These features make GA4 an ideal platform for organisations looking to track and optimise their online campaigns. By tracking events, user properties and cross-platform behaviour, you can gain a deeper understanding of your audience and tailor your campaigns to their needs. And with the help of machine learning, you can identify trends and make predictions that can help you stay well ahead of the curve. So in the next section, I'll show you how to set up GA4 for your organisation and start reaping these benefits. So let's delve a bit more into the overview of GA4 and some of the benefits it can have for your organisation. As we said before, GA4 is the latest version of GA, and it's designed to provide a more holistic view of your website users and their behaviour. Unlike UA, which was focused primarily on page views and sessions, GA4 places a greater emphasis on events and user properties, allowing you to better understand how users interact with your website and take action. Some of the key features are events. So you can track a wide range of events on your website out of the box, such as button clicks, form submissions, and video plays. These can be really useful for tracking donations and other conversion events on your website. User properties. So by hooking up Google signals to your website, GA4 allows you to track user properties such as demographics, interests, and behaviors, which can help you better understand your audience and tailor your campaigns to their preferences. Audience targeting. So with GA4, you can create custom audiences based on user behavior and properties and use these audiences to target your campaigns more effectively. Any audience that you can create can be applied to any report within GA4. For example, if you wanted to see purchasers versus non-purchasers, simply set up an audience for each, and any report in GA4 will be able to give you that comparison. So in addition to these features, GA4, although it doesn't seem it at first, actually offers a more intuitive and user-friendly interface with a streamlined dashboard that provides an at-a-glance view of your website performance. This can save you time and effort in analysing your website data and allow you to focus on what really matters, driving your impact. As you can see, there's a load of benefits to using GA4, but before you can reap any of those, you need to get it set up. So let's run through that process. So let's talk about how to set up GA4. It's pretty straightforward, but it does require a little bit of technical know-how, especially when it comes to adding the tracking to the site. So if you're not familiar with this sort of editing, you may want to consider leaning on your web developers to help you out. So here are the general steps you need to go through to get it set up for you. The first step is to create a GA4 property in your Google Analytics account. You can do this by logging into your account and selecting Create Property from the page as seen here. Next, you'll need to give your property a name and set the reporting time zone and currency. It's important to get these right because these reflect through your reports as you go through them. Next, you can choose to give a bit more information to Google, should you so wish, including your category, business size, and how you intend to use Google Analytics. It's not imperative to set these. If you're not comfortable with giving Google too much information, you can tell it anything you like. It doesn't actually affect your reporting later on. Next, we choose the actual data stream. So with this, you would put in your website URL, you'd give the stream a name, so in this case, Studio Republic website, and you would choose which of the enhanced measurement metrics you want to track. We'd suggest turning all of these on because they're already useful. Something to bear in mind here is that Google has a really good way of tracking site search, but you need to make sure that the search query is related in this parameter box you can see here. So out of the box, it will track QS search query and keyword, but if your site uses something else in the URL when you're performing a site search, you'll need to add that in here to make sure that it's properly tracked. Next, you get your installation instructions. So you tell it which site you're going to put it on. You have a number of options of built-in ways that you can do it, such as plugins, or you can opt to just take the G-tag and give that to your web developers. If you're using Google Tag Manager, which we would recommend, you would basically take the profile ID and use that to set up your GA4 configuration within Tag Manager. Then you're done. It's ready to go. As soon as you put the tracking on your website and it starts getting visits, data will start flowing into GA4. Now it's installed and been collecting data for a while, you'll be able to set up some more options. Going into the events section of your admin area will show you all the events that have been captured on your website. This screenshot shows the GA4 demo account which anyone can access, and I recommend you have a look through this because there's a load of data in there that you can play with, and you can see how a really popular website would show data in the back end without having to wait too long for your own data to start appearing. Anyone can access this account. Just search for demo from the account selector at the top of the user interface and you'll see a few demo accounts that you can choose from and play with. As you can see here, along with standard events such as page view, we have events for the e-commerce process, so add to cart, add payment info, etc. These won't be tracked out of the box by GA4, but should be supported by any modern e-commerce system such as WooCommerce with a little bit of configuration. If you have a more bespoke solution, then your developers will be able to set these events up for you. For any event, you have the option to mark this as a conversion, which will have it show up in your conversions report and will allow you to track these in your insights, which we'll come to later. A good example of this would be a form submission or a download of a particular PDF from your website that you're really driving traffic to. Then we come to custom audiences. Once you set up your events, you can create custom audiences based on user behavior and properties. These audiences allow you to make comparisons on any report. So, for example, you can compare activity of donors versus non-donors. First, you go to admin and then choose audiences. You'll see in this example, we track site logins. So we can compare the behavior of users who've logged in versus those who haven't. To create an audience, simply click on New Audience. The GA4 does a good job of making suggestions for these. Purchases versus non-purchasers can give that great comparison of donors to non-donors or for membership sign-ups, for example. Checkout starters and basket abandoners can give you a good overview of those who didn't complete your funnel, and that will allow you to start drilling into what the issue was and why people aren't getting through to that all-important payment. Demographics allows you to quickly build audiences based on age, gender, language, interest, and country, although you do need to make sure that you've enabled Google Signals in order to unlock these insights. Of course, you're not limited to Google's suggestions. This is completely flexible, and you can create your own audiences based on any user behavior on your site. So in this example, I've chosen to create a custom audiences for those who have completed our volunteer application form. For the condition field, I've chosen form submit as GA4 is tracking all my form submissions. I only want to track submissions on the volunteer page, so in the parameter column, I've set this to the page location volunteer for us, the page on which our volunteer form sits. This will then track all form submissions on that page, and we'll be able to create that audience for it. You can add as many conditions to these audiences as you need to. So here I've restricted this to include the first user source as Google. So now the audience will only contain volunteer applications from those who first found the website through a Google search. The right-hand column will show you the amount of users who will appear in this audience, so you can get a flavour of whether you're being too restrictive with those conditions. So putting this into action, we can start to customize our reports. At the top of every report is the Add Comparison button. Clicking this builds up the panel you can see on the right-hand side. From the first drop-down, I can choose an audience name, in this case purchasers, and we want to compare the overall stats with those who have transacted on the site. There are lots of other options to choose from here to hone your report, such as age, gender, location, etc. Clicking on apply now gives me another set of metrics on this report, highlighted orange. This allows me to compare the behavior of purchasers versus all site users. You can compare any audiences you like, and this doesn't have to include the overall all users audience. In this example, we just want to compare purchasers versus non-purchasers, so we've turned off the all users option. These selections that you've made will follow you through all the built-in reports, so you can compare them for all the metrics that GA4 captures. This report shows how they compare based on how they landed on the site, showing the relative performance of organic search versus direct, email, etc. Now that you've set GA4 up, let's explore how you can use it to analyze and optimize your online campaigns. By tracking the user behavior and their properties, you can gain a real deep understanding of your audience and tailor your campaigns to their needs. There are many events that you can track as an organization, but some of the most important ones include donations and purchases. Tracking those donation form submissions can help you understand which campaigns are driving the most donations and optimize your fundraising efforts. Volunteering sign-ups. Tracking volunteer sign-ups can help you identify which campaigns are most effective at recruiting volunteers and tailor your messaging to their interests. Page views and time on site. Tracking page views and time on site can help you understand which pages and content are the most engaging to your audience and adjust your content strategy accordingly. Tracking user demographics such as age, gender and location can help you better understand your audience and again, tailor your campaigns to suit. User interests. So things like the topics and causes that they care about can again help you tailor your campaigns to those interests and build a stronger connection with your audience. In order to be able to track your campaigns though, you need to make sure that GA4 is getting the right data to be able to segment them for you. Google has a great tool called the Campaign URL Builder. A quick Google search will pull this page up for you. And this allows you to enter your parameters and have it generate a link with these tracking codes in place. In this example, we want to track clicks from our winter campaign, which is posted to Facebook. For the source, we have Facebook. The medium has been set to social, which allows us to group all social channels together if we wish, and a campaign name. It's really important to use these links whenever you share a post to social, especially if you're running paid campaigns. When we've entered our parameters, the tool then outputs a link which we can use when we post. With this data in hand, you can start to analyze your campaigns and make data-driven decisions. For example, you may find that your donation campaigns are more effective with younger donors, or that your volunteer recruitment campaigns perform better in certain geographic locations. By tailoring these campaigns to these insights, you can drive higher engagement and conversions. If we look at purchase conversions in the demo account, the default view here is to show the standard channel groupings. But now that we have campaign data being captured, we can filter this report. Clicking on the default channel group drop-down allows you to show results for each source, campaign, and medium you have created. Choosing campaign now shows all the campaigns and the number and value of the conversions for each one. We can also use this data to make audience comparisons, so we can track all user behavior based on that current campaign. For this, we will click on Add Comparison as we did earlier, but this time we're going to choose Session Campaign, the campaign they were referred from when a session was started. You can choose your campaign from the drop-down and click Apply. Now, any report within GA4 will include this campaign-specific data. To compare the effectiveness of multiple campaigns, just add another comparison for each campaign. You're not limited to just campaigns, you can compare sources, so you can see whether Instagram or Facebook is most effective, and then add in gender and age to see which platforms resonate better with different audience types. So some advanced features of GA4. Now that we've covered the basics and how to use it to analyse your campaigns, let's dive into some of the more advanced features that can take your analytics to the next level. Some of the advanced features which could be particularly useful for you include e-commerce tracking. If you sell products, services, or take donations on your website, you can use GA4's built-in e-commerce tracking to monitor your sales and revenue data. This can help you identify which products or services are more popular and adjust your inventory or pricing accordingly. If your organization has multiple websites or domains, you can use GA4's cross-domain tracking to monitor user behavior across all of your online resources. This can help you gain a more comprehensive view of your audience and how they interact with your organization online. Explorations are reports that you can build yourself to get really specific information that relate to your KPIs. For example, GA4's custom funnel feature allows you to track specific user journeys on your website, such as the path a user takes from landing on your homepage to submitting a donation form. By tracking these journeys, you can identify points of friction or drop-off and optimize your funnel to improve those all-important conversion rates. GA4's user lifetime feature can help you identify your most valuable users based on their past behavior and purchase history. By identifying these users, you can tailor your campaigns to them and drive greater long-term engagement and loyalty. If your organization has data from offline sources, such as mailing lists or event attendance records, you can import this data into GA4 and use it to enrich your analytics. This can help you gain a more comprehensive view of your audience and how they interact with your organization, both on and offline. Let's take a look at the exploration area of GA4. These can be pretty daunting at first because you're building your own reports and you need to understand how to access the right data to make these meaningful, but it's a hugely powerful feature of GA4 and well worth spending the time to get your head around. For this report, I wanted to know which outbound links have been clicked on. So I've started with a blank report for this. For these reports, we need to choose dimensions and metrics. In this case, the dimensions are outbound, that the link is not on our website, and the link URL, so the end location for that link. For metrics, I want to track a total of all of the clicks, so I've chosen event count. I then drag link URL into the rows field and event count into the values field. I'm only interested in outbound clicks, so in filters down the bottom there, I've dragged my outbound dimension into this box and set match type to exactly matches and the value to true. This will then only show me outbound clicks. Perfect. All well and good, but what I really want to know is which pages each of these links was clicked on. To achieve this, I've added another dimension, this time page location, and dragged this into the rows area. Setting the nested rows dropdown to yes groups the links together and adds another column showing the page location for each click of the link. You can see here there are multiple clicks for our webinar page. This is because we set up campaign tracking with our email marketing tool, so we can see exactly which email can be attributed to each click through to our Eventbrite page. Now we have the funnel report from the demo store. This shows their e-commerce funnel from landing on the site, viewing a product page, adding cart, and through to converting as a purchase. These steps can be tailored for your own conversion funnel, and this example shows the comparative performance based on the medium the user first landed on the site through, using the breakdown box. Each step on this will show you the abandonment rate. So the figures at the bottom show that 78.8% abandoned after the session start, 79.1% after viewing the apparel page, 69.8% after viewing add to cart through to purchase. Any dimension can be used to show a breakdown. So in this example, I've swapped out medium for device category so I can see how the funnel performs across different devices. This is really scratching the surface of what explorations can do for your reporting, and it's easy to lose hours of your time in getting to grips with these. So part of our data consultancy service is to work with our clients to understand the metrics they need to understand and to set up these reports on their behalf to get them started. This way, you can focus on the insights that they provide rather than the nitty-gritty of getting them set up. It's also much easier to work with an existing report, duplicate it, tailor it, than it is to just start with a completely blank screen. Here are some tips and tricks that can help you get more out of the standard reports. One thing you might have noticed if you've been delving into GA4 is that bounce rate has disappeared from your page views reports. Don't worry, the data's still there. It's just Google, in its wisdom, decided not to include it by default. Any report in GA4 is customizable. So on the Pages and Screens report, all you need to do is click on the pencil icon in the top right corner, click on Metrics and choose Bounce Rate from the Add Metric drop-down. Et voila, bounce rate is restored. All of the reports can be customized in a similar way, and when you save one, you can either replace the original report or you can add a new one to your library of reports with a new name. This can be really useful if you want to create nuanced variations of a report but still want to keep the original. The left-hand menu in GA4 can be changed to suit your needs. You have complete control over this. You can control the order of the menus and add or remove any reports, including any custom ones that you may have saved from the previous step. Clicking on Library at the bottom of the menu, you'll see this view. The top level areas in GA4 are called Collections, the menus are called Topics, and the individual pages are the reports. Clicking on Edit Collection brings up this view. In this case, we've chosen to edit the life cycle section. You can drag and drop the order of the menu items. Clicking on the cross will remove one from the menu, and dragging one on from the right-hand column will add it. You can also create your own collection, so you may have a few reports that you use every day, so having them in their own collection will save you having to click into multiple places in GA4 to get the data that you need most regularly. Connecting the other Google products you use brings that data directly into your GA4 interface. Search Console is a great product to integrate as it brings that search data, such as what people are searching for, how well your pages are ranking, directly into GA4. To enable it, in the admin area, just click on the list and choose Search Console property from that list that's presented to you. Once you've linked up Search Console, you need to enable these reports so you can get hold of them. So head back into Library and you should see a new collection there called Search Console. This won't be published by default, so click on the three dots top right and then Publish. That will then appear in your menu and you'll be able to access these reports. By using these advanced features, you can gain even deeper insights into your audience and optimize your campaigns for the most impact. For example, by using custom funnels, you can identify the specific pages of forms where By using these advanced features, you can gain an even deeper insight into your audience and optimize your campaigns for the greatest impact. For example, using custom funnels lets you identify specific pages, points in the process where users are dropping off and make improvements to your funnel to reduce those drop-off rates. With the powerful new features that GA4 gives you, the possibilities for optimizing your campaigns are endless. I'd really encourage you to get stuck in, have a play with these reports, build your own explorations, and really get to grips with your data so that you can figure out how best to apply that to your own marketing and fundraising efforts to really get the most out of this data for your organization. So while GA4 can provide you with real valuable insights into your audience and your campaign performance, it's important to use it effectively to get the very most out of it. Here are some of the best practices I can recommend for you. Define your goals and your KPIs. So before you even start tracking with GA4, it's really important to understand what it is that you want to get out of it. how your data relates to your internal KPIs and digital strategy. This will help you focus your analytics and make much better use of the data that you collect. Use those campaign tags. You really need to make sure that any link that you publish has these part of that link so that you can actually understand exactly which campaign, which medium, which source of traffic is performing the best for you. This will really help you track how your users are interacting with your organization across different channels and campaigns. To really effectively track user behavior across your website, make sure you've implemented event tracking to monitor specific user interactions, such as those form submissions, button clicks, and video views. This will provide you with really valuable insights into how users are engaging with your content and your campaigns. Monitor regularly. You've got to keep an eye on it. Analytics is an ongoing process, so it's really important to monitor your data regularly and adjust your campaigns accordingly. Keeping a really close eye on it will also allow you to see if maybe a bug has occurred as part of your donation funnel and people just aren't getting through. This can be the first time that you actually see that in practice, and obviously the sooner that you can see that and remedy it, the better. Using GA4's real-time monitoring features allows you to see how users are interacting with your organization as it happens and make those adjustments as it needed. Really useful if you've just sent out a massive email campaign and you're expecting thousands of visits in the next day. You can see actually how people are responding to that campaign as it happens. GA4 is still really in its infancy and is not without its bugs and its quirks. It's rapidly evolving and there's new features and capabilities are being added fairly regularly. Really make sure you stay up to date with these new features, sign up to the GA4 newsletter and experiment with these features as they come out and with different tactics to see what works best for your organization. By following these best practices, you can ensure you're using GA4 effectively to gain valuable insights into your audience and campaign performance. With the right approach, GA4 can be a hugely powerful tool for charities to optimize campaigns and drive greater impact. Thank you for watching this recap of our GA4 webinar. I really hope it's been useful for you and that you've gained some really good insight into how you can go forward and really make the most out of the new platform. So how can we help? We've covered a lot in a short space of time. It's not everything you need to know, but hopefully it will really get you on the journey to making the most out of your data, really understanding it and driving the increased impact of your organization. We won't just leave it there though, and we can offer you a bit more support should you need it. First of all is the GA4 one-to-one workshop. So this is a couple of hours with me over Zoom, going through your current setup and helping you set up any customization of reports, new event tracking, some custom exploration so you can get the most out of the data that's there. We also have the GA4 Accelerator. So this is where we take a more consultative approach and we run this as a project on your behalf. We will look into your digital strategy, the KPIs that your organization has, make changes to your website in order to make sure that everything is being tracked in the absolute optimum way and build those reports with you. This can then be an ongoing process. So we can have quarterly or monthly catch-ups, whichever works for you, and really help you constantly evolve and improve those reports, always making sure that you're getting the most data to help you make the best data-driven decisions. So what's next? We're planning our next webinar already. It's going to be called Making Accessibility Your Priority, and it'll run on the 14th of June at 10 o'clock. For a disabled person, an older demographic, or someone that just has a temporarily slow internet connection, being unable to properly access a website is incredibly frustrating, and it can compound feelings of frustration and isolation. It really should be seen in the same way as a high street shop without a wheelchair ramp or a cinema without a hearing loop. It's just not acceptable. But really shockingly, a recent evaluation of the top 1 million website homepages found that over 97% had a critical accessibility error. It's actually a 1% improvement on the previous year, but it shows how slowly digital is transitioning into being truly inclusive. So not only do the moral reasons alone prove it's time to act, but the commercial benefit is further evidence of the importance of making sure a website caters for the widest possible audience. The collective online spending power of disabled people in the UK is estimated to be 24.8 billion a year. With 7 in 10 disabled people clicking away from websites they find difficult to use, this amounts to a huge loss of revenue for inaccessible online retailers, charities included, and is estimated to be around 17.1 billion in 2019. We really hope that we'll see you there. If you've signed up to our newsletter, you'll be receiving details of that as soon as tickets are released. If you haven't, go on our website, sign up, and keep up to date with the latest in this series. Again, thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions at all, please reach out to us at hello@studiorepublic.com.